All right, thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast this Thursday morning. We begin, as usual, with a look at the headlines. And, of course, we've been joined by a lecturer, University of Lagos, Dr. Dan Ekere. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Good to see you. You're welcome on the show.
Yeah,
all right, let's begin with the nation. IMF urges Nigeria to increase non-oil revenue. Do we need anybody really to tell us that we actually need to do that and move away from this monoproduct economy?
I don't think the IMF is actually advising us. It's only interested in its own.
Really?
Because the more we make, the more they make as well. But Nigerians should know on their own without being told that we need more revenues.
But interestingly, this administration even campaigned on that we're going to
diversify
the economy. How come it's still relevant 3 years after?
Well, but I know it's something that takes time, but we've not even seen the strategic arrangement to actually diversify the economy. Apart from this whole noise about agri, we are now food sufficient, rice, and yet I don't find it. You know, we see here of rice being smuggled into the country.
And even
if we have enough
rice,
here,
our local rice is more expensive.
Are you getting it? So if we truly have enough
rice.
of that, I doubt if we'll still be talking about importation of rice.
All right, let's be breezy this morning. How Buhari will battle Atiku by APC governors and, of course, towards 2019. Okay. If you put out your strategy out there, I wonder.
Well, but I think it's going to be a very, tough fight, if we call it a fight, or a very serious contest, because I think Atiku is equally a heavyweight, no doubt about that. And it will give Buhari a fight.
You think it will be as keenly contested as the 2015
I think so. I think so.
All right. Moving on, what else do we have here? Court voids Rivers APC's list of candidates. Farmers herders crisis, what Tinubu said. Of course, Odumaki has been responding to, Asiwaju Tinubu's suggestions at the summit, at the TVC, the Nation Summit. Asiwaju has responded, saying they need to look at what he suggested again, instead of, running out there and coming out with all kinds of responses.
Talking about
grazing routes and all of that. He never said anything about lands in the southwest or anywhere else in Nigeria, but where those challenges are being, experienced right now. All right, no deal yet on new wage. Okay, all kinds of numbers have been bandied, 25, 30, 24 even.
Are you getting this? But we've not got any official
figures yet.
Yes.
Osun records 70% pass in 2018 WASC. That's a West African School Certificate examination. And raw, Eagles must be fit. That goes without saying. Okay, we'll have to leave it there.
All right, let's check out the front page of the Punch this morning. Primaries, reps on a collision course with IG over colleagues' detention. The writer here says we resist attempt to frustrate Electoral Act amendment to Dogara. It appears that we are yet to identify what the role of the police and the members of the National Assembly are. In a case where the police arrest a member of the reps, do they have a right to tell the police what to do?
Well, certainly not. I think the police as an institution
should be independent.
Is constitutionally empowered to make arrests where there is a need. But sometimes too, the way they operate equally gives room for somebody. Are you getting it? Sometimes they operate as if they are agents of the party in power. Sometimes they operate as if it's for the highest bidder. So when you begin to find a scenario of this kind, it breeds all manner of suspicions and the rest. I think that's what's really
an interesting picture here on the front page of the Punch. A boy votes during Plateau local government election in Ajikamai. In Africa, we don't always look very big. So this guy, for instance,
could have stunted growth.
Could have some stunted growth. Could be a little bit above 18 years old.
You never know.
How do we confirm his age?
Or are we dealing with underage voting here?
Sometimes, you find situations where underage voters actually do vote. But to say that in Africa we are not usually big, I don't think that's correct. You will find so many big people, and we equally find people with stunted growth. But there are ways the age of some of these people can be determined. Before this time, they must have registered. There's a process that would have led to that. Then you should have collected all this data. Look at your list, whether it reflects, what you have seen on the field. So if that person is one of the registered voters, obviously.
Prior to this time, when we play football, We used to go
Oh,
with over age. But
why are you
that-
going
that-
there?
that
Why
would-
are you going there?
No, I'm just trying to say
Why?
that the kind of technology that has restricted us now perhaps can be brought to
Can
the
be
polls.
applied here. Okay.
To other stories here, EFCC vows to arrest innocent boss Chukuma. Mother, woman sends text message to friend after husband's death. And federal government charges Ekere Akpan with refusal to declare assets. There's an interesting story here. AMCON wants Polaris Bank sold
In 2 years.
in 2 years.
I really don't fully understand this AMCON of a thing.
Of course, Polaris is the new Sky Bank.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is even AMCON we're talking about, I truly don't understand their portfolio. I don't know what they do, whether their own is to acquire, banks that are ailing, and at the end of the day, what happens to investors and the rest, those who have deposited money? Because I remember there was a scenario where, a bank folded up, and all that depositors were asked to do was to collect 50,000.
Yeah.
Irrespective of what you have. I don't know whether AMCON is out to salvage the situation or to continue that trend, which means anybody can just establish a bank,
And,
collapse it,
yeah,
and all you
go
get
bust
is
and go away with the
I
loot.
truly don't know fully
Okay.
whether their responsibility goes beyond that.
What else is of
Yeah,
interest there?
back and forth between Fayose and the EFCC. I'm not afraid of you, Fayose tells the EFCC.
There's no point making that emphasis. The time will come, we'll see.
Okay. We'll see. To the New Telegraph. Primaries, APC in trouble. INEC bars party from Guba legislative polls in Zamfara or Shomole. You can't stop us from fielding candidates. And court nullifies Rivers primaries, disqualifies candidates. 5 APC governors meet Buhari. Okorocha, we need unity. Of course, so Shomole has been saying you cannot stop us because the Electoral Act does not allow for INEC to stop the Zamfara
They're
election
saying
in the
precisely
first
that
place.
the time to field the candidates has not elapsed.
Yes, so you surely cannot stop them from fielding candidates for as long as the time has not elapsed.
But if it
But-
has,
but if
it has, according to INEC,
yes.
it has.
Interestingly,
No,
what INEC
I
is saying
think-
is that the primary election did not hold
Hold
in
in the first
Zamfara
place.
as that of October the 7th.
You see, I think the major issue should be about fielding candidates, all right? It is when you give a timetable and the time frame given for submission of names is over, that it becomes a critical issue. Well, I cannot remember what time was given for that. But for primaries, INEC will set a timetable of, okay, between this period and this period, you should have been able to do that in order for them to be able to monitor.
Absolutely.
I think that is just, the emphasis is about them monitoring. Otherwise, it's not the responsibility of INEC to determine how and when these parties conduct their
But
primaries.
even the
But
ECOWAS
because
electoral
because of the
actually, advise that 6 months before
the
election.
Well,
I think
would have been the election will be in
a
February.
done deal. Yeah, February 14th. That's a presidential
The
election.
case in Zamfara was
Well,
that
the courts will decide.
there was a parallel primary, and there were issues of violence.
Like
The
in
fact
so
that
But when you
many-
talk
voting
about this
precisely-
parallel,
Like in a number of other
these so-called
states too,
parallel,
yeah.
primaries, were all of them monitored by INEC.
INEC.
That's right.
Good question. Let's
These are
leave it
the
there.
issues.
Moving on. Minimum wage. FG insists on 24,000. States 20,000. If this is anything to go by, that means from 18,000 to 24,000. We're talking about 6,000 on top. And if the states are saying it's 20,000, that's just 2,000. Is that what Labour has been fighting for
And
all
Labour
this
is
while?
saying
And Labour is saying 30,000.
it has to be 30,000.
Well, 30,000.
No,
if
The government is saying, they have actually come out to say, as at this morning, that they have not fixed any
That's right.
figures
That's
yet.
right. It's like
So we
you are
need
in
to-
the market and then
yeah,
people
and
are
they're
haggling.
still haggling.
I'm going to pay 24.
Let's wait for the final.
Let's just wait.
pronouncement.
Yeah. And reps lament poor budget execution, parties impunity. Which party now? Are they referring to the APC? Federal government releases 460 billion naira for capital projects, and Senate approves 242 billion poll budget. So INEC has nothing to worry about. It has
and
enough
no
funds
excuses.
to
There shouldn't be
execute.
room for incomplete
Yeah.
elections and
Okay.
all those things we'll be hearing.
To the Vanguard.
Yeah, let's check the Vanguard this morning. APC runs into storm in Rivers, Zamfara as INEC rules party can't field candidates for governorship, senatorial reps, House of Representatives in Zamfara. As court axes Tony Cole, faction exco in Rivers, you're unfair, too quick to judge, counters Oshomole. Interesting one here, Atiku visits Obasanjo today. and it appears that Obasanjo remains relevant every election year.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. You can't just write him off. It's relevant. He might not have so much, crowd to bring to the, to your side, perhaps, but there is a way, he has a way he can damage an image, So if he's not going to add, at least let him not destroy. So that could be.
But Isha Sage, the presidential, the head of the on corruption, actually believes that Obasanjo is not relevant in the scheme of things.
Well, that is why. Is Isha Sage more relevant?
Oh, well, he actually says it's not more relevant than I am.
That would be a big lie.
Are we looking at electoral value here?
Yes, we're talking about electoral value. There are still a lot of people. In fact, when Sage speaks, he doesn't shake anybody. When Obasanjo speaks, there is usual. That is why his speeches are always, you find no manner of commentaries associated with it. So
okay.
He tells you who
2019, we are not jittery over Atiku. APC governor's boast want Oshomole sacked. Interesting. I mean, Oshomole just became national chairman.
It's always so you find one who is disenchanted. So for as long as you don't have the, certain opportunities.
And when it came in with a lot of fanfare.
No, but it's always so.
With a lot of support, a lot of...
It's always so.
It's all right.
Is he about to get the Oyegun treatment? Let's move on.
Federal government releases 460 billion naira for capital projects, and Chronicles of Life and Public Service of Rahman Bello is on page 28. Senate OK's 189 billion naira budget for INEC, summons IGP, NSA, DSS, DG.
Okay, and to this day, it's my last paper this morning, and actually reporting on what all the other papers have reported on already. APC tackles INEC over Zamfara, says it will present candidates for 2019 elections. So the APC is adamant as far as that's concerned. Attacks on Atiku's character show presidency is jittery, says PDP. And IMF advises Nigeria to utilize forex reserves judiciously. Nigeria accounts for 40% of Afrexim's loans, says FG. Buhari signs Executive Order 8 on offshore money laundering. Okay, that'll be it.
And finally, I think we have the Daily Trust here featuring almost the same story on its front page.
One is very...
Residents wade through flood at Peace Avenue off Immigrant Road in Yenegua, Bayelsa State. I mean, this looks like, I don't know. How do you describe this? This is supposed to be someone's abode, and I mean, you just step out of your house and you have to swim through.
Well, it happened in 2012. I remember in my own area, speedboats were, were on the roads. The normal roads that vehicles, ply. It became such a pool that speedboats were now being used
This
inside
is what
town.
Nigerians experience every year.
Shouldn't we have declared a state of emergency as regards?
The question was, yes.
Declare a state of emergency and then what?
Yes, that is the question. Because after making the declaration of emergency, does it equally translate it to, solving the problem?
Action.
Because what is to make a declaration that, we are declaring a state of emergency in this area. Now, what have you put in place to address the challenge?
That's a question. All right, we'll have to leave it there. Okay, Dr. Dan Ekere is still in the studio with us, and we also have a child rights activist, Taiwo Akinlami, in the studio. He's joining us very soon, actually. Thanks for remaining with us.
Thank you.
It's World Sight Day, WSD, it's also known as that. Let's talk about how important the eyes are. The holy books actually say that if your eyes are sound, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are not good, your whole body will be in darkness. And you could actually take that both figuratively and literally. It was Helen Keller that said the pity really is not that you don't have eyes or that you're blind, but that you lack vision. That could also be translated in, you could take it both literally and figuratively. But let's even talk about the importance of eyesight.
Yeah, it is what, for me as a human being who has eyes, sometimes you just try and close the eyes and see what you look like. It will look like everything about you is closed.
Absolutely.
So for me, the eyes are, as important as life itself. But talking about sites, really, in a comprehensive manner. You see, I remember it is on your station, I think, that you do this, what do you call it? Is it a jingle or something, or somebody who repairs computers?
That's right.
Yes, and is visually impaired.
Yes.
Visually impaired.
Are you getting it? He's able to do all of that, okay? Yeah, so he could still be productive. But the truth remains that he's still having that challenge that he's not able to see.
Yeah.
All right?
And how much difference it would have made?
A lot of difference.
If he...
Though chances are that if not for that, perhaps it might not have been that good.
Very true.
You know, because I recall I have a friend who lost, his hand, they cut off the hand. And soon after that, the guy took his academics more seriously and he became almost becoming a genius. His life changed. And again, he even became stronger. So sometimes it could cause some level of determination. But at the same time, no matter the determination, you want to see what you are eating.
Yeah.
You want to see where you're going.
Yeah.
The question of being led by somebody or carrying a stick and all of that, it gives you a lot of inconvenience. True. And I do not want to think that anybody would wish to lose, his eyes.
Another big challenge in this light is access to health care. I had a woman who's had, there's this, I think it's glaucoma.
Or cataract.
That you have this white thing on your eye. And then, the family members have been telling her, you need to visit the hospital.
Yeah.
So eventually got to the hospital and they're asking her to bring 50,000 naira. So, she said to herself that, I don't have that money, so I'm just going to keep managing these until, perhaps a miracle happens.
Out of hand.
What can be done to ensure that, issues, sight, for instance, they say it's the biggest of all the five senses. You need to see to be able to do other things. What can government do in this light?
I don't think government is the one in charge of sites. However, there are facilities that can treat people with eye-related problems.
They have the responsibility of providing health care.
Healthcare generally.
That's what
generally. So what they need to do is simply, I am not too sure of any, specialized, hospital by the federal government or any state government that focuses on the eyes. I'm not too sure. Though you have general hospitals where you have all those departments, but what about the equipment? Do we really have them? All right? That is why you find out that a lot of these general hospitals are overcrowded and people don't like going there. Not because they don't have qualified hands, but the crowd, because the things are so
tools are just not there.
So the government really need to put in some efforts.
We've just been joined, of course, by Mr. Akilami. Good to have you on the show. Taiwo Akilami, of course, is a child rights advocate, and I already envisage that we're going to be keeping you for even longer than this right now. Let's even look at the statistics. 1.13 million Nigerians aged 40 are actually blind or visually impaired. 2.7 million 40-year-olds are okay, all right. All right, that's understood. My producer is giving me a different instruction, but let's stay with you, Dr. Dan Ekere. Talking about the figures here, 4.25 million aged 40 are visually impaired or blind. And reports say, statistics actually show that 84% of the blindness cases or visual impairment are actually avoidable. That's far higher than the global statistics, which is about 75%.
Yeah, a lot of evidence.
How tragic is that, really, for a nation
so
like
tragic
ours?
Because we don't have that, that culture of medical checks. In some cases, even when it is free, people still have difficulty going for checks. So we don't have that tradition. Along the line, you discover that when you were supposed to have gone for these checks and take precautionary measures, you don't do that until the thing degenerates to the point that it becomes a serious issue.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you end up losing it because you never addressed it when it was curable. So these are some of the challenges. And I think we need to really develop that culture of taking care of ourselves.
Let's turn our attention to the girl child now. Of course, today, October the 11th,
is
every year, is the Girl Child Day.
Absolutely.
And of course, it's a day assigned to address social cultural practices hampering the advancement of the girl child in nations around the world.